Hello, Winona Wildcats. This is Miss Mowers here. Today we are going to be talking about angles. We're going to cover angle types and then how to find missing angles when you are given one angle but not the other. Before we get started, I want to review the different angle types. So there are 3 types that you need to know about. The first angle type that you need to know about is a right angle. A right angle is 90 degrees exactly. So it makes a perfect square corner. So you'll have to pardon my drawings, they're not going to be perfect, but a right angle makes this perfect square corner of 90 degrees. A right angle is not always facing the same direction though. You can turn this in any direction. It could also look something like this, or it could even look something like this, as long as you have that perfect 90 degrees in the corner. So we have a right angle. The other type of angle that we have is an acute angle. I always like to say, oh, look how cute it is. It's such a baby angle. It is less than 90 degrees. So it is 89 degrees or smaller. And usually we look at this where the 2 rays meet, and it'll be a smaller area in here. So after the acute angle, we have obtuse. And I always say that it is a big angle. It is obtuse. When you have an obtuse angle, it is more than 90 degrees. So it is 91 degrees and greater. And usually it has a big mouth. It has a big opening here. So when we have those types of angles. We also have what is called a straight angle, which is, if you would recognize this is just a straight line. This is always exactly 180 degrees. Now, this is important for remembering when we start finding missing angles. So in the lessons or assignments that you're doing this week, you might see figures that look something like this, and your angles might be labeled like A, B, C, and then we might have D here. And they might tell you that this is 45 degrees and that we want to know this missing angle here. Well, in order to figure this out, we need a little bit of information. So maybe the problem tells you that angle ABC is equal to 100 degrees. So we know ABC, that's this part right here. ABC is equal to 100 degrees. And then based on the picture, we know that angle DBC is equal to 45 degrees. So that is this angle right here, DBC. So we need to figure out what angle ABD is, which would be, let me look for a color, which would be this angle right here, ABD. So we don't know what ABD equals, so we need to figure that out. One way that we do that is by either adding or subtracting. You can use either operation, it's just whatever is easiest for you. For me, it's easiest to subtract from my total angle. So I know that my total angle is 100 degrees, and I am going to subtract the 45 that I know is there. When I do this subtraction, I have to remember to do the regrouping. And 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 4 is 5, 0 minus nothing is 0. So I know that angle ABD is 55 degrees. I can check that by adding the angles together. So if I add angle ABD plus angle DBC, I should get angle ABC. Now, I wrote it like this. I know that might be a little bit confusing, but I wrote it like this so that way we can see the measurements. I know that ABD is 55 degrees, and I know that DBC is 45 degrees. When I add those together, I get 100 degrees, which is what angle ABC is. So if I took those angles and substituted them for their measurements, I can figure out the total measurement. Okay, so that was a lot of information. We're going to do another problem together to kind of help you out. The important thing that we need to remember, the reason I mentioned our different angle types is because that's a good way for us to check our work. If we're looking at an angle and we think we've said that it is an obtuse angle, we need to make sure that our measurement is greater than 90 degrees or less than 90 if we're looking at an acute. So you might see something like this. And right here. If we know that, I'm going to make an adjustment, I'm sorry. If we know that this angle is 45 degrees and this angle is 45 degrees, let me label this is A, B, C, D, E. So I've labeled it. I know angle ABC, it's a straight angle, so I know my total is 180 degrees. I know that angle, so this is angle ABC is 180 degrees. I know that angle ABE is 45 degrees. I know that angle DBC is also 45 degrees. And I want to know what angle EBD is. So I don't know about EBD. Well, I can use the information that I have. I know my total, this whole entire thing, has to equal 180. So far I have 45 plus 45. So I have to do a two-step problem here. 45 degrees plus 45 degrees gives me 90 degrees. So I know right now these two pieces of my figure equal 90 degrees. The whole thing equals 180. So I have to do 180 minus the 90 degrees I currently have. When I regroup, 18 minus 9 is 9, 0 minus 0 is 0. So I know that angle EBD is going to be 90 degrees. Okay, so I used my knowledge of my angle types to help me figure out my measurements. ABC is a straight angle, so I know the total has to be 180. We were able to get that total when we added all of these up. I know that ABE is an acute angle. I can see that small area right here. This little angle here tells me that it has to be less than 90. Same thing on this side, this little area right here, I know it has to be less than 90. Right here, this area, forgive me because my drawings aren't perfect, but this area right here is pretty close to a perfect square corner. And so because I have that perfect square corner, it is a right angle, and I know it should be about 90 degrees. Okay, so when we are finding missing angles, we need to first figure out what our total angle measure is and either add until we get to that total or subtract from the total. So for example, if you were given an angle that looks like this. And let me just call this angle X, Y, Z. And then right about here, I'm going to have angle A. So I know that angle A is going to be 28 degrees. I don't know what angle X, Y, A equals. That is what I'm trying to figure out. This spot right here. Oh, let me do that in a different color. This spot right here. I'm trying to figure out what this equals. I don't know it yet, but I can use my information about my angle types to help me out. So what angle do we know that this is? If you said right angle, you are correct. We know that that's a right angle. So we know that angle XYZ is 90 degrees. And we know that angle AYZ is 28. So we have a total and a part. We're looking for the missing part. So that tells us we're going to use subtraction. I'm going to take my total 90 degrees and I'm going to subtract 28 degrees. When I do that math, 10 minus 8 is 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. I get 62 degrees. Now I can check that with addition. If my whole angle is supposed to be 90, that means 62 plus 28 should equal 90. 6, 7, 8, 9, and it does. It equals 90 degrees. Again, I use my knowledge of a right angle. I know the total angle is 90. I know one of my parts is 28. So to find my missing part, I can subtract from my total. To check my work, I can add these two smaller measures up to see if they equal my total. Okay, so please let Ms. Kent or I know if you have any questions. I know this was quick, and but please don't hesitate to reach out if you're a little bit confused. Just think about this as very basic addition and subtraction. You have a total, you have to subtract your parts to find the missing ones. All right. If you don't have a total, add up all your parts until you do. All right. Thanks for watching. I will talk with you soon, friends.